Hi, I am Piyungsak Wiriya Bandit Kun. Welcome to Asian Agribiz Podcast. Today, Arif Farudin is speaking to Dr. Phang Yuen Fun, Technical Manager, Avian Regional Operating Unit, Asian, Korea, Australia, and New Zealand at Boehringer Ingelheim Animal Health about Marek disease, Gumboro, Newcastle disease, and a 3-in-1 vaccine.
Hi, Dr. Phang.
Hi, Arif.
Good to see you again. And thank you
Yes,
for joining this podcast.
yeah, we will see each other face to face one day.
I hope so.
Yep.
Soon.
Yep.
Dr. Phang,
Yes.
Boehringer has launched Vaccitech HVT plus IBD plus ND. Before we dive deeper into this 3-in-1 vaccine, I would like to hear your explanation about the current situation of MD, Marek's disease, IBD or Gumboro, and ND, Newcastle disease in our region, Asia.
Yep. Thanks, Arif. So, my job is technical service, poultry technical service for Boehringer Ingelheim in the region of Southeast Asia, South Korea, and now expand to Australia, New Zealand, follow the territory of the management. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have this Vaccitech HVT IBD ND launch in the region of the area that I service. So before we talk about what benefit come here, let's talk a little bit on what is Marek's disease, infectious bursal disease, and Newcastle disease. So this structure is built on HVT, IBD, ND. So HVT part is mainly for Marek's disease. So Marek's disease is one of the very old disease that we know that it causes immunosuppression and and tumor in the long-lived bird. So it's quite a common practice that for prevention of Marek's disease in the long-lived bird, but it's not a common practice to prevent Marek's disease in the broiler in our region. So if we will talk about the prevalence of Marek's disease in the region that I service, it is not that we do not see major outbreak of Marek's disease. I do have cases that is Marek's disease cases for diagnosis, especially in those not very well vaccinated flock. So what does it indicate? It indicates if you are not doing the immunization of Marek's disease well. So the disease is around us, is everywhere, is around us. So that will actually cause a case of Marek's disease if the immunization of Marek's is not well practiced. So Marek's never leave us in this region. So it is still a very important program for long-lived bird to prevent for the tumor. And these days we also have the HVT recombinant vaccine that which is preventing part of the immunosuppression of the Marek's disease, which we can't put into numbers, but we see a better performance from the boiler with a HVT vaccinated. So that's for the Marek's part. So shall we go to the infectious
Yes.
bursal disease and Newcastle disease? So I like to talk about these two diseases together because of the experience of us recently in Malaysia. I am a Malaysian, born in Malaysia, and now service across. So year 2021, we have a major outbreak of Newcastle disease in Malaysia, and we know that Newcastle disease is always part of the disease that we prevent in the program, but it's like 10 years one time we have a major national outbreak. I graduate at the year of 2000. That was the first national outbreak I see for Newcastle disease. Year 2010, there's another one time. And this time, 2021, there's a major outbreak of Newcastle disease. So Newcastle disease never leave us in the region, and we know that in this region the prevalence genotype is genotype 7. So it's not limited to Malaysia having a genotype 7. I believe in Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, even South Korea, they are also having genotype 7 of Newcastle disease. So generally, we have a lot of vaccination program. So there's a lot of my customer or the farmer asking me why is the vaccine or our immunization program is not work in this case. I will talk about that later. So I have infectious brucella disease. Infectious brucella disease also another disease that never leave us in our region. From the day of I work until now, is always in the prevention program. Why is it so important? Because infectious brucella disease, the brucella is actually the factory in the immune factory to produce the B cell for the poultry. So infectious brucella disease, it will destroy the brucella, and that will eventually lead to the bird not able to produce B cell, and whatever of the vaccination program or the immunization program, it will be suboptimal or fail when the birds are succumb to infectious brucella disease. Um, there's something very new these days from the last 5 years I'm working across the region of Southeast Asia. We always thought that we have only classical infectious brucella disease or very virulent infectious brucella disease. But lately, we have a lot of report on, or we found there's quite a emerging of this antigenic variant infectious brucella disease in our region. Of course, in the country that I stay here, for the last 2 years, I don't travel because of COVID-19. There's a lot of work we had done here that we found the emerging of antigenic infectious brucella disease in Malaysia, and we even caught the agent, and that is actually for Boehringer Ingelheim to work together with the institute in Malaysia to conduct challenge trials to find the best solution to control this antigenic variant infectious brucella disease. So it's not limited to Malaysia. We have some cases of antigenic variant infectious brucella disease detected at Thailand. And of course, South Korea reported that they have antigenic variant infectious brucella disease. Japan and China, there's a lot of job done on this the emerging antigenic variant infectious brucella disease. So with the technology of molecular these days, we can do a lot. We can do a lot to detect a variable that we not found last time, and we found it, and we also can compare what kind of the sequence of our molecular sequence, genetic sequence of this BRNA virus compared to other countries like China. So it's very exciting work that we are looking ahead to work on this antigenic variant infectious brucella disease.
Wow,
There's
interesting.
yeah.
And now I want to hear more about what is new in terms of mutation of the viruses of the three diseases you explained and their virulency and also impact on production performance.
Okay. So mutation is something that we learn now after COVID-19. We talk about this variant and that variant. Of course, let me talk about Marex. Marex is always keep moving, is keeping virulent and more virulent from time to time. So Marex is something that and I'm very happy that Boehringer Ingelheim we have a new breakthrough innovation. We have a prevention structure to support for Marex prevention. Um, but still, we can't stop the nature change for the
True.
structure of the virus. Yeah. So what do we need to do is do a lot of a good biosecurity, and the vaccine company is coming up with a lot of new innovation to help to control the disease. So that's Marek's disease. But what more excited that I want to share with you is the mutation change of this Newcastle disease and infectious bursal disease. So sharing you the experience of what we had in Malaysia for the past 2 years is what do we see on the face that we thought is a Newcastle disease outbreak. So we with the technology of molecular, we sequence every single case of us of this Newcastle disease outbreak to understand why is the vaccination program is not working, why is the prevention is not working. But surprisingly, we found genotype 7 is still genotype 7. It never
Mm.
changed. Very minute change. So that is why we think another level deeper. So why is the immunization program is not working? So we thought of IBD. So the moment when we investigate for the IBD, this antigenic variant IBD, infectious bursal disease, float out. So from the molecular detection, it looked like the vaccine strain, but once we sequence this antigenic variant infectious bursal disease, it emerged. And the tricky part of this antigenic variant infectious bursal disease is we do not have a straightforward lesions. It means what the frontliner like us, we are the field vet. When we go down to the farm, when we post-mortem a chicken, we expect to see hemorrhage, shank. We expect to see jelly cover the brusa, or the hemorrhage of the brusa is not showing.
Oh.
Antigenic variant infectious bursal disease, you have no lesions except the brusa is super small. So the factory is not working. So any other kind of the infection can be prevented. So we have a lot of complication of this immunosuppression caused by antigenic variant infectious bursal disease, and lead to Newcastle disease outbreak, infectious bronchitis outbreak, and sometimes with the low pathogenic avian influenza outbreak. So
Mm.
it's very interesting. So sometimes what we see in the molecular help us a lot, and also um uh how should I say, that open up our eye on something that we do not see with our gross eye,
Right.
but there's something else that we can think of. So that thanks to the technology, and we learn a lot from the disease outbreak in this case.
Yeah, yeah. So I learned that it is really important, right, to do molecular tests rather
Yes,
than just
yes,
relying on our eyes to check the clinical signs, because the
yeah,
clinical signs are totally different now, as you mentioned.
yes, 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 yes. So the virus is very much tricky these days. They are
Mm.
smarter than human.
So we have to mutate also our approach to detect
So
them.
it's a mouse and cat catch.
Correct. Okay, now
Yeah.
it's time to talk about your company's 3-in-1 vaccine, with all the information that you already explained about the current situation of the three diseases and the mutation of the viruses. What is the idea behind the creation of this vaccine, technically and economically?
Um. Very good question, Arif. So I try my best to be very um technically answering you this question, but not as a salesman, right?
It seems that I want to create the same vaccine.
Yeah. But there is something that I'm very proud, and I'm very happy to have this, because this vaccine is very unique. So instead of a very common recombinant vaccine of HPT in the market, they have a single insert. Single insert means you insert a Newcastle disease on HPT as a vector, or you insert the VP2 for infectious bursal disease. So this technology is come with double insert. So HPT, herpes virus turkey, serve as the vector, and we have the insert for infectious bursal disease and Newcastle disease. So this whole structure, as what you say, is 3-in-1, and it moved together at the same time. And what make this structure even more special and unique to Asia is the Newcastle disease insert is a genotype 7 insert. So we
Okay.
know that, yeah, we live with genotype 7 for long, long time. I remember the second national outbreak of Malaysia, 2010. That's the time that we talk a lot of genotype 7. So even at this moment, 2021, we still live with genotype 7. Even sometimes some people say it's DEHI or variable, but
Yeah.
it is still genotype 7. So with this insert of genotype 7, it brings a lot of benefit because it have a homologous protection to control the disease. So that's the part that I'm very excited and I like very much of this molecule. Um, Another part is there's I heard some of the, I mean, I used to work in the farm in the integrator, and we know that to have a good vaccination injection is very important. And these days, with many of these innovation in many of these products from for to put in the hatchery, it makes the hatchery very complicated. You
Yeah.
can imagine the hatchery nowadays is like a grocery shop, kedai runci.
Everything is there.
so so many items, so many type of vaccine. So the challenge come to the people, the skillful staff to prepare the vaccine. I need to put a wristband, need to put a HPT, I need to put a ND, I need to put a IBD and a IB. So many items there that you have to make sure you pick up the right one.
Mm.
And that's a lot of time. And this small little tiny ampule or vials is very difficult to read. So it's not
Yeah.
that I'm blaming, yeah, it's not that I'm blaming that a mistake can be made, but sometimes we complicate their life. Okay, so here come this structure. It's so easy. One ampule. You have three structures, and you have three vaccine, and it make the life very much easier, less mistake
Simpler.
made, simpler, less mistake made, and this is exactly what we need now, because we have very less skillful staff or personnel around.
True.
So this is the biggest challenge that we have in the industry, where we are sort of skillful worker. So when we make all these solutions more convenient or less complicated to be used in the hatchery, there's something that I'm very happy that we are helping the industry. It's
Yeah.
not in the sense of the technology of the genotype 7 insert, the this insert and that, but we economically or operationally, we are supporting them to make their life easier and make less mistake in the hatchery. Yeah, then that eventually have a good or better program that we send the chicks away from the hatchery and they live happy ever and after.
Yeah. Good. Multiple
Yeah,
benefits, not only for the
yeah,
birds, right? But also for the
yeah.
people
Yes,
administering the vaccine.
yes. I like it.
What are the do's and don'ts of using this vaccine? I think this is really important for people working in the hatchery to administer the vaccine.
Yeah, yeah, true. So of course the setback of this vaccine, where a lot of us also I mean, it seems like I'm still working in a hatchery. I mean, a lot of the a lot of the skillful staff reconstitute the vaccine it is a liquid nitrogen store vaccine. So the step of reconstitute the vaccine is is not easy. Not easy. So we have to make the step correct, that the timing to pull out the ampule, to thaw the ampule, and to have the vaccine to put into the diluent. The steps is really have to be careful. So that is the part that generally for all the frozen vaccine uh um challenges. So that also part of the point that I mentioned, we have everything into one ampule, that less complicate the job, but still is a very important step that we have to ensure the injection in the hatchery has to be right at the first day, because if the vaccine is not inject into the chicken at first day, the birds are actually not protected when they walk out from the hatchery. So I always talk to the vaccination team that you are really doing the great job to ensure the chicks, when they walk out from the hatchery, they are well protected. So the do is, we still, with the direction of all the frozen vaccine, we have to do a very good hatchery vaccination step in the hatchery.
Mhm.
So the do also, not the don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, the do also the don't. So don't miss the bird. Don't miss any bird. Don't let any of the bird unvaccinated walk out from the hatchery, because it's like war outside is full with the challenge of the virus of Marek's disease, infectious bursal disease, and Newcastle disease. So there's a very important message that we have to protect our chicks before they walk out from the hatchery. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Do you have anything else to add, Dr. Phang, before we end this podcast?
I think the very important message is we still have to work side by side from the breeder side, from the producer of the chicks, from the hatchery, from the solution provider like Boehringer Ingelheim, and of course at the boiler or the layer side to combat the diseases. So once the animal is healthy, and I'm sure the economic benefit is there for the farmers. And also we have our job to serve the best meat, poultry meat, and best egg to our loved one,
Yeah.
our family. Yeah, so that's part of our job, and we can't do it alone. It's a big teamwork. And I'm glad that the innovation come in, technologies come in, so that we try to make the life easier, more convenient, and better efficient to protect the disease and protect the poultry, and eventually ensure we have a very good quality of meat and eggs to our loved one. So that's my message.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Dr. Phang, for your explanation.
Thanks, Ari, for inviting me to the podcast.
Thank you for listening to another Asian Agribiz podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this show on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.